Everybody, welcome into the show. This is the B at LLC with my co-host Space Miner here with me. We are going to be doing an unboxing today and trying some new software. And I gotta go over here to Instagram and go live over there as well. So bear with us as we get things set up and going here. And it does look like I am going. Over there, so we will. Okay. Nickel stacking, Jake's Custom Parts, 5x5. Thank you very much. Welcome in, guys. And let's go ahead and get going here. You got audio and visual yourself, Space Miner?
I do.
How's it looking over on your side? Are you streaming as well, or do you see anything there?
I don't have a clue. If somebody wants to glance over at my profile and see if I am, be interesting to know.
Yeah, I'll put you in right now here. I'll pull you up.
I like that you put the comments up where we can see them on the screen. That's helpful.
Cool. Yeah, that's a new feature as well that they're just now offering.
All right. Thank you, Jake. Appreciate it.
You are live yourself. Yep, you're going.
Very good. So
I'm going to put in a chat for you, give you a thumbs up.
Yeah, you should be a moderator in mine. If you want to drop a link to yours in the chat and just let everybody know that this is where we're communicating.
Okay.
That way, if anybody drops in, they can see that and see that they can come over and join us in yours too. You know, which will also tell me if my chats are popping into your StreamYard. If my chats carry into yours also, that would be good to know. All right, cool. That means if anybody drops into my live, we'll see them too.
Yep.
Excellent.
Cool.
Excellent. Cool. Very good.
All right. And yeah, Jake's Custom Parts. If you would like, send me an email at longlivedcoins@gmail.com when you're ready to pop up, and I'll send you a link. And with that, let's get going. Think Differently 3000. Good to see you. Okay. Let me move some of this here. Metal.
Set it for my camera. There we go.
All right.
Awesome.
The osmium unboxing. Should we get into this or what?
I think we should. It's time. Welcome in, Nick, Jake. Think Differently. Man, it's good to see all you guys. Thanks for joining us for this unboxing.
Indeed. So this is the box in question. Let's get into it.
Oh, the big moment, the big moment. So exciting.
Indeed, this box has had quite a trip.
We have been waiting a long time for this moment.
Coming all the way from Germany. Let's see, and what's the name of the city called?
Hamburg, or which one?
I'm trying to think of where the Osmium Institute is.
Munich.
Munich, yeah. Nick Bermudez, good to see you. Ragamas, welcome in. 888.
Let's see, zoom in a little bit. There we go. Now I can see you guys. Okay.
One more side to get open here.
Yeah, nickel copper's doing its thing, isn't it?
Copper on the move, is it?
No, I don't think it is. I think it's kind of slowed down just a notch. Everything. I was on In It to Win It's live earlier watching him, and it just seems like everything kind of coming down slightly. Kind of looks like a big repositioning.
Yeah.
I think we just captured so much profit in our market from this panic.
Yeah.
I think it stimulated a lot of the market. Now guys are capturing some profits and repositioning. So I kind of think that's where we're at right now.
Gotcha.
What up, Squirrel? Welcome in. Thanks for joining.
Squirrels Magnet Fishing Outdoors. Wow, nice handle. Cool. I haven't seen you in here. Welcome into the Beehive. Good to have you.
Yeah.
We are unboxing a package coming over from Munich, Germany. Got a little precious metal inside, or at least that's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm expecting.
There better be, right? After all this, like, you bumps, you better bring it.
So my first shipments came over without anything to do with customs. This one did get held up in customs, and I had to fill out a bit of paperwork to finish it. But I did that over the weekend and didn't expect much movement. But by Monday morning, it was already delivered. So it happened pretty fast. I was worried it would be a long delay, but it wasn't the case.
I've been impressed with the Institute. Institute gets mail faster to us from Germany than most bullions get it to us from, like, Texas. Get out of here, man.
Right.
So shout out to them.
Yeah, I'm gonna back this out a bit here so better view for everybody. It's all about the view.
Just a little refresher for the chat.
Yeah.
B and I had a little while back been asked by the Institute to go ahead and take over a Sparkle tool project that we had created. We had created it, proposed it to them, and they liked the idea. And at first they were going to take it, and then they were like, well, can you guys actually handle it? And so B, like, in a freaking evening, managed to make every contact we needed for production in like a single freaking evening. And so managed to smack it all out. So now our, like, little dream child of this Sparkle grade tool is coming to life. And we've been waiting for this big moment of this, like, this osmium to land. And then the last step is one little window with it, like an information window or an information cell that will live in this Sparkle tool. So
live in infamy. So just a little idea of where we're at so far. These are pieces that I had custom made, or we had custom made. All of this is a joint effort between me and Space Miner. We put many hours of work in the design. It is not fully done yet, but some of the big components are taken care of. Like that there. Here is.
And again, shout out B for the footwork, man. You really smacked that out in a hurry.
Well,
Is that assembled?
Yeah, this is the piece that we will use to display the osmium right here, and just an example that is yet to house the osmium, but this is the idea, and the goods should be in this box right here. So, with that information, let's see what's in here.
Yes, Nickel. Each grade, we're going to have Sparkle 1 through 5 set in this tool.
We got Stella Hernandez. Welcome into the Beehive. Good to see you. Niels Han Dynasty. Welcome in. And
so we need an information slide, which we've already composed, designed and composed. And then additionally, we'll need some setting gaskets to free float the osmium to keep it from rattling, scratching, anything like that. And so we'll free float the osmium within those cells. So
yeah, and I have some little ideas right here as a type of clear silicone that's pretty thin, pretty squishy, so I'm hoping this will work as a gasket. So I think we pretty much lined out the material. I have to go back to that gasket place and have them actually mill out the pieces so that I don't have to tediously cut each one, because that would be a lot of work.
Yep.
Frisky Dingo, welcome in. Good to see you.
Hey, Frisk, you made it in. Very cool to see you, buddy.
So yeah, we've got several different windows open. It's showing that I have 3 lives going on my channel, which is only 1 live, but I have the landscape, the horizontal, and also streaming on Instagram. So wherever you're catching us, thanks for coming. Oh, and then actually 4, because we're going live on Space Miner's channel as well. So we've got 4 streaming platforms open at the moment. So
we wanted you to see this. Dang it, I lost my lighter.
Look through my paperwork here later. I don't think you need to see all that. And it's just coming in one of their beautiful boxes. These are very cool, very, very well designed boxes that they send us over in. So I'm getting a few of these going on. Table's falling apart on me.
How you doing, Frisk? Good to see you, buddy.
So 1 box down and out of the way. I also
Deals on both.
I also have a whole nother unboxing to do, but I might have to shut this one down and come back for this. This is actually something I'm very excited about in here as well, but it's a whole nother story, so we'll get into that a little bit later.
Yeah, I'll save that one.
All right.
You want to go big screen for us?
Oh, I probably should for this big reveal moment here. Joseph Lopez, welcome in. So, have we covered everything with everybody before we open this? Are we ready? Should we get into it? Do we need to explain anything else before we get going here? How well and how nice the box looks. Beautiful. All right, so I'm going to go full screen. All right, here we go, peeps. This is the big momento.
Oh, yeah.
This is the product we are after. The most rare element known to man, the most dense element known to man, naturally occurring, I should say. Very value dense. Am I correct in saying it's the most value dense metal?
Most val yeah, value dense, naturally occurring, non-radioactive.
Yeah,
Most That's a possibility.
I think
I
it
don't
is.
know.
I want to
I
double
would be
check.
interested to look into that.
Yeah, I think it is, but I'm not 100% positive on that. I need to look into it, but I know it is the densest metal known to man, the densest element known to man, naturally occurring, and I believe it's the most value dense metal known to man as well. So, some good little information here. If you buy enough, big enough product, you will get a box with this information along with it. If you buy enough product, okay, and right up here on top,
Oh yeah.
we've got the squares. This is the sparkle grade tool components I have been anxiously awaiting.
What's the sixth one? What's the
Well,
extra?
those are so I've got for 3, so I should have 15. They may not all be in this box. I'm not sure how they're going to manage the what's on the bottom here. Let's go ahead and see. So I'm going to pull these,
We need to talk them into putting like a little pull tab from the bottom to like lift the whole edge.
lift the whole thing out.
Mm-hmm.
Looks great. Nice unboxing. Well, thank you, Squirrels Magnet Fishing Outdoors. I'm going to have to abbreviate that here before long, my friend. But yeah, so I noticed this. So this is a new sticker here that I'm not used to, but
It is.
and the whole case is different. It's just now listed right here on this sticker with a little QR code on it. So that's interesting.
It might have just been because it was custom ordered.
Custom order could be. Could be. Could be, says the bee. Osmium is extremely rare, being one of the rarest elements in the Earth's crust with an abundance of about 50 parts per million. Tell us about these gems. Are they lab grown? So, these are, I suppose you could consider lab grown in as far as they're refined from, it's a platinum metal byproduct. So, this is taken from platinum mining. It's refined further there out from the platinum mining, and once it gets refined into a pure osmium, then it is sent to a lab in Switzerland where a scientist worked over 40 years perfecting his method. And once he got it into this beautiful crystalline form, they created also the Osmium Institute, where they take in the samples that he makes, they enter them into the database, and then they market them available for the world, for the rest of the world, for us. So,
Yeah.
indeed, there's
Neil's saying that he's got osmium gems coming up. This is what was going. Oh, oh
quite
yeah.
quite nice there. So,
I
yeah.
like what they do with the bottles.
So what they do is they take the osmium, the purified osmium, which comes naturally from the mine in kind of a sponge form, and they heat it up to a really extreme high temperature, and it becomes a vapor. And then within a vacuum chamber, they send that vapor into the vacuum chamber, and then they coax that vapor down onto a plate, kind of like a glass plate, but I believe it's a type of carbon. It's like a carbon plate, and they coax that vapor down to the plate, and it starts growing on that plate. And so the back of this piece of crystalline osmium is flat and smooth, and then those crystals start to grow upward on that plate over time. And so they grow in this uniform crystalline structure, and the longer they grow it, the bigger the crystal gets. And so that's where you get your different sparkle grades. The shorter growth, if they just leave it for, let's say, a week, you'll end up with just a little bit of crystal growth, and it'll be very smooth and uniform and lots of little sparkle platforms to reflect back. But that would be a thin sparkle grade, or a refined sparkle grade, and so that would be considered a sparkle grade 1. And then if you let it grow for a few more days, maybe 1 week, you'd come up with a little bit bigger a little bit bigger crystal, which the longer you let it grow, the bigger the crystal gets and the bigger the reflection point gets. So that would be a sparkle grade 2, and then you let it grow a few weeks, it'd be a 3, and then 3 weeks, it'd be a 4. I don't know the exact time periods, but you let it grow for quite a while, and it gets up to a sparkle grade 5, which is the largest they let the crystals grow before it becomes kind of problematic to have such an even sparkle grade, an even keel across the board, same amount of growth everywhere.
Uniformity.
Uniformity, thank you. And so it goes from a sparkle grade 1 up to a sparkle grade 5, and that's what we're accomplishing here today with this. Let me grab that piece again. That's why we have 5 chambers here. We're gonna put a sparkle grade 1 and a sparkle grade 2, a 3, 4, 5, so that we can hold this tool up. It'll have some information in it when it's done, but we'll be able to just hold this up for people and show them, here's your different sparkle grades. At a glance, you can see which sparkle grade would fit you the best for whatever application you would like to use it for. So that's what we're accomplishing here today with this particular order. And then I also have a bunch of diamond cuts for my revolver cylinder. So that is where we are. So let's see, I got one.
And if this is your first time listening to this information, by diamond cuts, we refer to our round bar crystallized osmium, the ones cut to be a circle. Anything 9mm and below is going to be considered a diamond. Anything above that is considered a disc. So,
can you repeat that again, Space Miner? What did you just say?
I was explaining that you said we have a couple diamond cuts here.
Oh,
well, yeah, we're not talking about actual diamonds. We're not talking about the same types of cuts a diamond uses.
Right.
The Institute refers to 9mm round bars and below. So 9mm 876543. These round bars, 9 and below are considered diamond, and above that is considered a disc. So when we're referring to diamond cuts, we're talking about a round disc.
Yep.
A small round disc.
Yep.
So.
Yep, it's just from the top looking down on it, it's just circular, and it kind of can resemble a diamond, so a round diamond. So I think that's where we get that. But yeah, it's just a circle. It's got nothing to do.
What up, MHG? Welcome in, man.
MHG Fishing, good to see you. Welcome into the Beehive. Nice to have you.
Shout out from New Mexico. What up? Whoop whoop.
And
good to see you, man.
Speaking of New Mexico, obviously we got Space Miner here, and he holds down New Mexico as the Osmium Institute rep for New Mexico. So
yeah, New Mexico and Arizona. So if you guys are in New Mexico or Arizona.
So,
let me know.
Cat 73 Freedom, welcome in. Good to see you.
What up, Kat? Welcome in. Glad you found us. We're unboxing osmium. Ooh.
So, okay, and here's the original casing that I'm used to. So it's interesting that, yeah, they have this new, just the sticker on there where normally it's printed onto the case like this. I don't know if that's going to be a new design that's taking place or just because I have a special order here or what. But
I'm kind of leaning at the special order. I recognize that sticker material
yeah,
on the back, and that's the same sticker material I got when I bought the Ingo Wolf Raptor. So, yeah, Ingo Wolf. Ingo wrote his name on that one, and he used that very sticker material. So I kind of think it's the customized cuts.
probably. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 10 of the square cut osmium pieces. So that would probably be 2 sparkle grade tools. So I'm missing, I should have had 3 total. So I should have had 15. So I must have another box coming. And then we have these, as we were mentioning, these diamond cuts here.
And those are threes?
And these are 3s, indeed.
Those are threes. Awesome.
So how many of these do we have? Because I was supposed to count these for 1.
Yeah, and so people have an idea kind of what's going on. So it's going to be common that when you're getting like 3 mils, like 3 mil squares, 3 mil hexagons, 3 mil diamonds, triangles, all those three letter I's and stuff like that, they're often going to come in jars like this, those little bottles that you see. And so in that very box, they'll sit in the same box he's holding, you know, so you'll open it up and it'll look like, here, I'll just do it. Instead
And
of being
so I have 16 of the vials with the diamond cut osmium sparkle grade 3 circular cuts.
So it'll look kind of like that.
Yeah,
And this is called an investor box. When you order them like this, you can input a certain amount of like money that you'd have if you don't like want to sort and pick. If you just kind of want to put it in as an investment, you could be sent something like this if that's what you choose.
Indeed.
You know, so it's a pretty cool thing.
And all right, and yeah, Gerald, I appreciate you being here. Let's be respectful of the other people in here. Would greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much. We've got Akadaka Stacker. Welcome in. Good to see you.
No way. Aka made it in? No freaking way. No freaking way. Aka. I didn't even know you Aussies could live at this time.
Cat73 says, I support channels even when I have no idea what's going on. We appreciate you being here. We are looking at the rarest precious metal known to man, the most dense precious metal. There's a whole list of mosts that this metal covers. It is in crystalline form and it is quite beautiful, and it has its own built-in safety code, just like a snowflake that is formed. It has its own unique crystalline structure. So does each piece of osmium. And yeah, that's how it is registered at the Osmium Institute database in Germany. That's where this box came over from. They take in the osmium after it's grown in Switzerland, and they document it, list it, and put it in their database, and then it is released into the market to all the osmium partners throughout the world. We're now in Japan, we're in the US, we're in many other places. Hopefully soon to be in Australia. We have a few Australian people in the chat right now. And Knackers O'Reilly, there's one. Speaking of which, welcome in. Good to have you. So yeah, Space Miner has been working diligently with a lot of people from the down under, and we'd love to get you guys on board.
Yeah.
So, indeed, that's what we got going on over here.
Yeah, Aka's going to be getting a piece of osmium eventually. So that's going to be fun.
And Frisky Dingo says they have items from 2 millimeters to over 200 millimeters, so it's accessible to first timers. Yeah, we go all the way from a little over $20 all the way up to a few 100,000. So you can get a little piece that you can put in an earring, or you can get a large piece that you could buy a house with. So indeed, many different.
That's one of my favorite parts about Osmium B is the diversity of the purchase, meaning like the personalization of the purchase. Because like you can pick everything from your weights, your dimensions, your shapes, your sparkle qualities. You can sort through, like, let's say you chose a sparkle 3. There are so many different forms of constellations within that. Like everybody gets their own unique, individual, personalized, named piece. I mean, it's just like you mentioned with the price accessibility. Like, it's so easy to find the piece of osmium that's suiting to your investment style or your character style, So that's one of my favorite parts about it. Always has been.
Aka says he's on his morning smoke break. Right on. It's great to have you guys on. I guess it's Tuesday morning, I hear over there. It's probably getting a little bit later than was earlier when we were on. Someone said it was like 7 a.m. in the down under. So appreciate having you guys here.
Rocco, you got to send me your address again, man. I really need it. I really need you to send me your address again. So,
who doesn't want a piece of the world's rarest metal? Frisky, I couldn't agree more, especially when you see its beauty and you understand its other attributes. Being the most dense metal means that you can't replicate it. You can't forge it, or not forge it. Well, you can't
counterfeit it.
Counterfeit. It's the most dense metal, and being in this form that it's in, you can't put anything inside of it because this is so dense. You couldn't get anything in it in the same dimensions in which it's grown in naturally, and so this
Later, Aka.
stuff you
have a good day at work,
bro.
bro.
Yeah, appreciate you
coming work, man. Aka, send me your address.
And like you said, Nickel, it's harder to steal. So you can steal it, but then you can't resell it because it has its own built-in code into its own built-in fingerprint. And if someone was to try and resell it without the ownership code, you'll just get busted, and it will lead the cops or the authorities back to the very owner themselves. Because when you buy a piece of osmium, crystalline osmium like this, you will receive a code, and it's called the OCC, the Osmium Change Code, and that gives you the ownership of the piece, and then you can resell it when you would like. You can gift it to someone. You have full control over it at that point, but only you're the only, if you buy that piece, you're the only person in the world that has the ownership of it and the code that goes with that ownership. So you can easily sell it to someone else, and when you sell it to someone else, you enter in their information, and there's a new code generated from the Osmium Institute Germany that gets sent from their database to the new owner's email. And the ownership that you have, the code that you have, will get burned immediately when you transfer it to the new owner. And then that new owner is the only person that has the code attached to it. So they're the only person then that can resell it. So it's a very secure way to own and sell, and or you can hand it down to your kids. There's little columns that you can just
I
gift it
like
to
that.
someone or hand it down to someone, like your children or whatever, transfer the ownership of it. So there's many different things you can do. You can buy land with it directly. There's a lot of different options that you get that have become available to you immediately upon ownership. So, but it's a new interesting way to own your precious metal.
Well, B, I'd like to kind of expand on some attributes for a minute. You know, we tend to give like a lot of the elemental attributes,
Yeah.
you know, like the rarities, the formations, and things, you know, weights and measures, right? But
Thanks for stopping
there's
in, Gerald.
Gerald, you out of here later, buddy. Got a book. It's pronounced book. But anyways, uh, what was a suggestion?
You were talking about how
Oh,
we
the
talk about the
character attributes
elements
of it.
of it and the characteristics.
Yeah, my one of the things I like about it always comes with the challenge that people like to present. Well, what are you supposed to do with it? Well, it's like, well, first off, I'd like to lead this with what do you do with that gold ounce that sits in your safe? You let it sit in a safe till it sells, right? You know, you look at it every now and then, right?
Tommy
Can't you do
Rogers,
the same
welcome
with
in.
your osmium, right? But here's something you can't, well, I shouldn't say can't. That's just let me say something about osmium that's just much easier than gold. Is you can directly use osmium. You can buy your piece of osmium and use it, like in a form of jewelry, watches, you know, just fashion. You don't have to like, you don't have to smelt it and re-pour it and then hammer it and then chisel it and then polish it again. No, you put it in a piece of something and you clamp it in. Like it can be that simple. You can you can mill cavities and inset them. You know, you can clasp, pinch, inset, glue. You know, and it's directly available. Um, and if you are like a guy that doesn't mind the work of going through the gold work, right? Well, you can just order the custom shapes you want and get sharp jewel matting, you know, like they'll do with diamonds, you know. But now you have tiny little sharp corners that you can incorporate into your jewelry, you can incorporate into your, you know, your luxury goods. But it's an attribute that a lot of these precious metals just simply don't have, like platinum is an example. It is difficult to source a platinum jeweler. Like a good platinum jeweler, it is very difficult to source. But any jeweler with a couple set of instructions can set osmium, you know. So its ability to be like directly used into something functional. um you know, you can do that with like gold coins, sure, gold coin pendant, gold coin rings, we see that all the time. But or you got to melt it down and blah blah blah. But with osmium, it carries the function of direct use. You don't have to do anything to it once you get it to use it. And then so that's also one of the things I really like about the osmium.
Yeah, indeed. So,
I
yeah,
don't know, man. I was a nerd before I ever was involved with the institute. I was in this before I was ever involved with the institute. So I had already been nerding out, you know. Like, this is cool stuff. Osmium is cool. In like the elemental world, osmium's freaking cool, and it does a lot. So, I mean, it's used for a smatter of things. So even if you didn't believe in the beauty of it, you could believe that down the road they're going to need it. So,
Yeah, for sure. See, Happy Chappy, welcome into the Beehive. Good to have you.
oh shoot, Chappie rolled in. I need to pay closer attention.
And so, yeah, here is the hopefully gasket. I was going to show you this down in New Orleans. I don't think I did get it to you, did I? Show you? But
No.
it's kind of a silicon type gasket. It's like a little over a millimeter thick, like a millimeter and a half, but it's pretty squishy. So,
Are you gonna lay in a couple? Are you gonna lay in a couple of those squares and?
I think I'm gonna do it off air just because I don't want to, I don't know.
All
I'm a
right.
little
Well,
nervous to
can
do
you hold
it
us through the
live.
sparkles?
What's
Can
that?
you can you at least take us on a tour of the 1 through 5s, like you said earlier? Like,
Well, I
it's
would
such a
have to look
rarity.
them up. Yeah, I'd have to look them up online and everything. I'm thinking I just want to wait and put a actual sparkle grade tool together and then show it off in its true form.
How would you trace the OS at the Institute? If you put OS in like a ring, how would you trace it at the Institute? Look, somebody like, for example, I have osmium that has been stolen from me, like right now out there in the world. Somebody stole one of my rounds, with one of my salvo rounds with the osmium in it. And so, look, I'm going to have to wait till the thing pops up. But the day it pops up, I can prove it's mine. Like, so for example, you have a bunch of gold maples, right? A bunch of 1 ounce gold maples, and one of yours gets stolen. And some guy says, "Hey, a whole bag of maples came in the other day," and you want to prove that's your maple? Good luck. Good luck.
Yeah,
Prove
yeah,
that
right,
that's your maple. Prove that that's your maple.
right.
I can prove that's my little piece of osmium in there, and it's worth 3 times the value of that ounce of silver, or 4 times now, 4 times the value of that ounce of silver right now. But so the day it pops up, all I need to do is do. There it is. That's mine. And I can claim it back. Like, it's just, look, it's not an anti-security theft. Yeah, it's not an anti-theft security, excuse me. I mean, it could be a deterrent if they knew. It's a deterrent. Anybody can steal anything. I mean, there's no work of art, there's no jewel that's, I mean, what was that French one? Happened just the other day. Um and all those jewels were snagged up
Yeah,
somewhere out here.
the Louvre.
Yeah, is that where that was at? Oh no, did they really? Is that where it was at?
I think so.
I just heard about, like crown jewels or something being stolen. No, I was
Yeah,
like, no way.
yeah, out of the Louvre in what is it, France? Is that where that's at or something?
Yep. And guess what? Um, these guys, like, if they're not like interested in the value of like the historicity of it, like if they just really all they want is just good clarity gem to steal, right? Let's say that's their whole focus. Dude, they could cut those up, couple cuts here and there, ching, 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 you know? And how do you know? How could you ever prove that that was one of them? But like the crystallized osmium, man, you cut that up in a million pieces. Like, if there's 10,000 times more recognition points or more security points in that than your fingerprint, you know, per square millimeter. And so, like, they could cut it up into teeny tiny pieces to try to like black market it. But every time a teeny tiny piece came up, if it's got enough signature mark, you could still hypothetically evidence it.
Indeed.
So, But no, people are shady. They can steal anything. It doesn't stop people from stealing stuff. But what it does do is it can show that it is yours. So like it sure makes recovery a lot easier. Identification and evidence and proof of your ownership. Like, and kind of like we've talked like a million times, like you're going to an airport, right, B?
Yeah.
You know, you got a pocket full of gold, and you got a pocket full of osmium. What's the first question they ask you? Is that yours? How'd you get that? Can you prove that yours? Can you prove you got that lawfully? Legally? Can you prove you got that that is in fact the stuff that you did say you bought? And on and on. But with osmium, it's like, boop. Does it match? Yep. Life goes on. And you
Yeah,
get proof of
so
ownership and shit. So
right, like Frisky Dingo says, you can't just melt it down like other metals to change it. That's true. So Frisky, are you saying that there's an XRF that, if calibrated, can read the crystallized osmium as pure osmium?
oh shoot. All right.
Hey Jakes, welcome in. I just sent you a link.
Yeah. So by the way, last while he's doing that, while he's responding, he says yes.
Cool.
Yep.
So, and I do, for the people who are wondering out there, I'm going to be, I believe, doing a live soon with Tiger where I will show
Nickel, you're terrible.
some. There's a few different labs, independent, separate labs from the Osmium Institute that have tested osmium, and they've come back at 100%. So, yeah, there's that. I'll be going over that soon as well.
Yeah, so no, I mean, there's like a bajillion. There's everybody out there that tests it, it blows their charts off the water.
Yeah.
They never see anything like it before, everywhere that goes.
Yeah, and it's actually used in other what would I say? In other labs, they use it as a calibration material because it is so pure that they calibrate their tools with, or their machine.
Well, who was it? I discussed with this once that, like, even if the machine doesn't say osmium, isn't like specifically calibrated to osmium, right? It still demonstrates its values that it reads, right? It still reads values, and tells you percentages. And so when you're getting like, it's kind of like a process of reduction, like logical reduction. You don't need it to say osmium. What does it not say? You see what I'm saying? What does it not say? What does it say? These
Right.
things will tell you what it is also. Just because somebody didn't type in the word osmium into that reading, and really you could almost do that yourself. Get a good piece of it, beep, label it. There you go.
Yeah.
Like, so, I mean, you don't, come on, guys, like we shouldn't, like we're supposed to be an educated culture, right? The metals community. We're supposed to be a reasoned, educated, logical culture, that we can determine things. We can read in between the lines. We can see outside of the box, and we can, I can tell what's missing here. And based on what's missing, I can tell what it is. Sometimes a silhouette reveals a lot.
Yeah, Frisky, I would love that if you could send me like a picture of you reading it, or go live with us sometime if you have access to that XRF, that if you can show the XRF showing that it's 99.99 pure osmium and nothing else, that would be awesome. I mean, I already know this myself, but just for the naysayers out there. The more,
Is there a way for me to share something with you? I
yeah, you
might be
can
able to pull
share.
that up. How? Oh my
Well, you're
goodness.
on a phone, aren't you? If you were on a are you on a laptop or your phone?
No, I'm on the phone. I'm not going to screw with it. I'll probably like drop myself again.
All right.
So, but no, I have those. So we could, you know what I'll do is I'll put up the pictures, in the community, as a community post just to demonstrate it. You know, I can do that later.
Yeah, Mr. Happy, indeed. Common sense, not so common. That's the key nowadays, isn't it?
Well, so again, yeah, just like basic deduction. I mean, come on, guys.
So,
I'm not scorning y'all for the record. Like this room is full of highly intelligent people. Like, so not to scorn you guys, but to kind of scorn some of the world going on out there. There's some people that like some of these, like a lot of these guys, like I really respect in a lot of ways. Sometimes they just say some things that are like, bleh, and you're like, whoa, where'd that come from? I didn't expect you to say something like that. Let's think that through for a second. Is that true or not? And hell, I've done it. I'll probably do it again. But this community is good about grabbing that, catching that, and recognizing that. So I think we should, anytime that we see that, point that out. Look, the machine doesn't have to say osmium when you beep it. Doesn't have to. Read the values.
So, Nickel, will this be with me, Tiger, and Dragons? I'm not sure if Dragons will be there. I'm sure the invite will be put out. And no, he has not said anything else about it. I don't think he will say anything else about it unless we're having a group discussion on it again, because of some reasons that I won't get into.
Yeah.
And now 1 cent not going to be common. Yeah, that's a good point. Common sense have left the building in more than one way, haven't they?
Yep, the Omega penny has landed. The last penny has dropped. No more 2 cents for your opinion.
Well, that's funny, Nickel. He says, I was told I'm crazy for stacking copper, but it's doubled in value or tripled probably by now, just like the other metals. It's just it takes so much for it to be that much of a gain for you. But yeah, I mean, value wise, it's probably doubled or tripled. If you'd have got it a couple
Yachts.
years ago.
Dude,
Yachts,
yachts.
welcome in.
No
Good to see
way.
you, my friend. What's okay? Numbers are cool, but what's it do? I can write on paper, so I'm in most my life paper is more valuable to me than gold. Numbers are cool, but what's it
Yeah, he's
do?
saying, look, 1+1 = 2, but that doesn't put a pound in my pocket, is
I
what
got
he's reflecting.
okay.
I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, Yox, but I think that's what you're expressing.
Yeah,
You
Nick
know?
says his bars have almost doubled. Yeah, yeah. Don't
Yeah.
get too smart on us here, Yoxnav. You're gonna embarrass me.
No, Yox, if you're chilling in my channel, man, that philosophy is welcome. Like I love it, dude. Like we really are relying on like, well, if 1+1 = 2, then that means it's reality now. And it's like, well, life is a little bit more nuanced than that, or algebraic, if you will. So yeah, it's not just copper and nickel and osmium and gold and silver. There's a recurring pattern here. It's all the metals. It's all of them. It's all their metals. It's all their oxides. It's all the gases. I mean, hell, even the gases are going through the roof. You know, um, there's a lot of really important gases, and like that we need and use every day, and those are getting expensive too. And it's kind of what B and I have reflected on over and over and over and over. That the illusion's coming to an end. You know, and if you stick your hand in the magician's hat, there's probably going to be a rabbit in there, right? you know so What can you reach in your hat and grab? You know,
Yeah, amazingly, I think reality is going to start coming back into play, which will be such a refreshing thing.
well, we're already seeing a renaissance of a mind. People are thinking again.
Yeah.
Like they're tired of being fucking lied to and gaslit. Excuse my
Yeah.
language if there's little ears listening, but people are tired of being lied to and they're tired of being gaslit and they're tired of ad hom being the only response. And and you know and they're seeing it. They're seeing it in their interest rates. They're seeing it in their taxes. They're seeing it on the shelves, and they're like, yeah, I've been lied to too much. And but you know what I really think's stimulating it more than anything? I think it's the few that are willing to like get out and say, hey, you're being lied to. They're lying to us. There's a bit of an illusion going on. And like people are like, whoa, there's other people that say that. And you're like, yeah, in our world, that's standard language. You're being lied to. That's like that's like a that's like a foundational truth. Like that's like almost an objective reality. You're being fucking lied to.
Yeah.
But but there's a lot of people out there that no, they live in these little echo chambers, and even if they think they're above their echo chambers, it's just because they're trapped in a different one. And and so that's kind of where I was getting at earlier. There's this this crowd don't like being lied to, and the money don't lie. Follow the money. Money don't lie. You know, or it can't lie for long.
Yeah, and that's what's caused so much corruption, and that's why things are so upside down, and you get such ridiculousness, is because that money needs to get pumped into society. And so you print all this money up, and then you're like, well, how do I get it into society? Well, people hold their hands out. I want some of that money. And they're like, okay, yeah, well, here you go, but you gotta implement this new narrative in order to receive the money. So then they receive a bunch of money and push some ridiculous narrative, and that's how you end up with, like, where is this coming from, this stupid narrative that's getting pushed so hard? Well, that's part of this money coming from the top and being injected into the market, and you get just corruption that runs rampant, and it gets worse and worse, and people learn that, oh, I can break the law now, and I can, push this new agenda, even though it's completely upside down and backwards, because you have millions of dollars backing it, and so the corruption
Mhm.
just gets way out of hand, which we're seeing on a day to day basis. So
You know, there's a journalist by the name of I Am Free, and he went on one of his little Oh man, if you guys haven't seen I Am Free, shout out to I Am Free. That dude is he's he's a true journalist. Like he really finds the truth, right? Well, he stumbled into this high rise once, and he went floor to floor to floor. It was like a 9-story building, and he documented. Uh, it was completely abandoned for the most part. Like every other few stories, there was like one or two people per floor, but it had the appearance of being like this fully running facility. Just desks after desks after desks. Lit up, phones, computers. All there, packing boxes. And but nothing. There was nobody there.
uh,
And we're talking about millions and millions of dollars it takes to run these facilities. Well, who's getting that money? They're not paying it out in paychecks. You know what I'm saying? They pay for some electricity and some gas and water, right? But after that, they're not paying out anything. Where the hell's all this money going? Right? And but this is how they're capturing it. We go to seek information. They cover the information. They say they either stonewall you off the bat or they give you the runaround, you know, or they gaslight you about like even asking the damn questions, you know, and then they smother it all. I mean, you can't even get Congress. You can't even get these people to be held, you know, to the point in Congress. I mean, come on. Like, there should, like, if they want the law so much, why aren't they arresting these fucks when they refuse to speak? You see what I'm saying? When they refuse to answer a question directly under oath. Like, these are crimes of that carry penalties of death, is how seriously it's written in the law, you know, that the spirit of the law invokes, but they're not being held accountable. But again, it's just everybody, nobody wants to interrupt it because that's their paycheck, you know? So kind of like back to that. And so while they're swelling their pockets with these paychecks, they're eroding the very foundation that puts those paychecks in place. And so it creates this ultimate debt cycle as they consume and we sustain the consumption until finally they've consumed every last bit. And then that's when it comes down to who owns something and who doesn't. You know, who is the bank coming after and who are they not going for? You know, there's not, you know, if you're not prepared to pay up right now and they call in their debt tomorrow as a matter of national security, debt security, you know, financial security, don't think they couldn't issue an emergency order to stabilize. Because guess what? They just got done doing it. And they've done it before. And they've done it times
So
before that.
Nickel Stacking makes a good point here about the osmium not being in the government's hands or on the stock market itself. So gold and silver, we all know, have been manipulated many a time for a long time, and that is something that's nice about osmium is this is not on the stock market. You can chart the price of it, but it is very much just supply and demand right now. So you can go watch the price on osmiumprice.com, but yeah, it's not manipulated like on the stock market with a bunch of paper leverage. So that is kind of cool.
It's a private monopoly.
Yep.
Natural monopoly. It's a private monopoly, yep. Natural monopoly is what it is, which is exactly what you would want, you know, in a private system. You know, the inability to be swayed, you know, by anything other than ethic.
So Cat73 Freedom says, sorry, it's not blue, so I'm not sure what you are referring to. However, with crystalline osmium, it is the one metal that has a natural blue hue.
Comments?
So there is a natural blue hue, especially with certain pieces. If you hold it up, you know, and at the right angle, like with against a piece of silver, you'll see a very blue hue stand out on it. So it is pretty cool.
Man.
And she's asking,
sorry, I gotta like zoom into all sorts of dumb stuff.
Do you want I Am Free's actual channel name?
Yeah, Inland Auditing Media is what it is. It's
if you want to drop it in the chat.
IAM Inland Auditing Media. Yeah, dang it! If I was on my YouTube right now, I'd go give you guys some wrenches. I'll catch up the wrenches, and next time this happens, you guys will have wrenches. If you like cat, you need a wrench. I'm sure of it.
Nickel says, "Yep, they look like blue diamonds on steroids."
You know, in my shorts section on YouTube, in my shorts, if you go down a little bit, there's like a little pendant, silver pendant with a 5mm piece of osmium in it, and it's got diamonds in the silver, and you don't even notice the diamonds because all you notice is the blue osmium. But point is, it's like one of my best captures of the blue. it was like really vivid in that moment and like really close to real life. And so if you ever want to see the blue of it, go to that little silver pendant. It's a gorgeous little gem.
And if you want to drop something in the chat and you need a wrench, if you pop over here to my channel, Long Live Coins on YouTube, I will wrench you so you can drop in a link if that's what you're wanting to do.
Yeah. But yeah, I am free. Dude, that dude is dope. I hate when people call him an auditor, though. He's not. He's a journalist, an investigative journalist. And he's really uncovered a lot of garbage, a lot of wasteful spending, a lot of violations of the law, and really shown, how it only look. It doesn't have to be a whole mass of people like in on some great conspiracy, as long as they're all following the same nasty spirit,
And boy, you know what's amazing is how much of a bad rap the word conspiracy has gotten, because conspiracy is something that happens constantly. It's like one universal truth that almost everybody does. There's me and Space Miner conspired to make this sparkle grade tool. And we conspired even with the Osmium Institute. So, I mean, oh my goodness, how scary and dangerous. Conspiring just means you're talking about something with someone else and you guys have, an idea, an angle that you both agree on. And so, people say, well, it's not a conspiracy. Well, you mean it's not true? You can say just it's not true, but most things are conspiracies.
And conspiracy theories are always going to be a theory until they're a fact.
A fact, and most of the
Yeah.
all of these conspiracy theories that they claim to be conspiracy theory is indeed
Conspiracy fact. Hey, I'll be right back. Give me a second.
All right. Yeah, exactly, Nickel. I'm in Idaho. Inland auditing media is the closest of anyone to me. Idaho, what a great state. You guys are doing well in the precious metals world. I believe you guys have a gold a state gold fund, like as a gold reserve for the state of Idaho. So that's very cool. There's many states are passing legal tender, even though it's already lawful money. And this is a very funny thing I talk about on my channel. The fact that we're trying to bring it into legal tender status when it's already lawful money is a very ridiculous thing. But it's the state in which we live right now, so there's that.
Good language capture, by the way, distinguishing between that legal lawful status.
Yeah, most people, again, that wouldn't catch such things, but and it is actually quite nerve-wracking. I'm very pro the people who are trying to bring it to the States and make it legal tender. I believe they have a very good ethical idea, but the fact that somebody subscribed, thanks for subscribing, whoever just subscribed.
Sweet.
But yeah, the fact that we're bringing it under legal tender when it's already lawful money per the Constitution is kind of sketchy. Are we coming out from under our lawful reality into a legal trap where what they say goes under this legal framework? It's like legal is now trumping lawful when it should be the other way around. Legal should be under law, not vice versa.
Legal, if you look at what legal means or making something legal, it's actually to go against God, in a definitive language use, to undo God, to undo God's law, because remember what you're doing, you're subjugating, you're saying, hey, look, in this moment, we're going to override God's natural law
right? Yeah,
in order
exactly.
to claim rights over you.
Over you,
And
indeed.
so
I
we are
agree.
undoing God's law for this purpose. We are undoing God's law for this purpose.
Yeah,
And this
yeah,
is the natural usage of the language. We just don't commonly recognize that nowadays, which is why people like B and I have beef with their language.
yep,
Because they,
yep,
you know,
yep.
don't
Not
tell
what they're
Space
doing.
Miner I did you. How could I know?
Yeah. Cat 73 Freedom. Thank you very much for subscribing. Greatly appreciated.
Yeah, I expected everybody to kind of come over here anyways, just because this is where the chatting was happening, So I'm gonna have to mute this for just a second, or it's gonna be terrible on this.
Yeah, no, don't worry. I won't tell him. I won't tell him you ditched him. So, that's a Sparkle Grade 1. I can tell just by looking from here. This will be a Sparkle Grade 1. And, hey, 888. You know how we were talking about maybe a Sparkle Grade 5 being the most sought after in the long run? After working on this Sparkle Grade tool, it turns out that something that may be quite contrary to our thought process, it may be the Sparkle Grade 1 that is, kind of rare and hard to get a hold of. So we'll see with time, but that was the tough thing for me to get a hold of in actuality.
Yeah, because it's actually one of the harder ones for them to grow too.
We got Jake's Custom Parts joining us here. Let me grab him and bring him up on stage.
Yeah, we determined that the Sparkle 1 and the Sparkle 5 are the two most difficult to grow. Okay, but a Sparkle 1 is exponentially more difficult in handling and holes and spikes because it hasn't been given time to gain a uniform plane, right? Or uniform lattice structure. It hasn't quite grown in all the right spots to fill in correctly yet. And so it's a lot more prone to spikes and holes.
Okay, so I wanna welcome in Jake's Custom Parts. Jake, looks like you're on mute, but when you wanna say something, you can unmute. Greatly appreciate you being here. Jake's is a great guy. And Cat 73 Freedom, I am going to wrench you in case you would like to drop something.
Cat's worth wrenching up. Cat's really good mod.
Cool.
So. Yeah, hey guys, I appreciate it. I don't know if you can hear me. It's awful windy. Is it too windy on the patio?
No, you sound good.
Got that smooth radio voice.
I believe you're now modded. Cat, say something else. I believe you're good. Throw another comment in there, and if you got a wrench, you're good to go. If not, I'll figure out what I did wrong.
Got a job to do, guys. See you next time. Knackers. Good to see you. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you guys from way over there across the pond. So
cool. Yep. You're blue. You're wrenched. Appreciate you joining in the chat, joining the channel. Great to have you. So Jake, how you doing, bud?
Doing pretty good. It was nice to meet you down in New Orleans a few weeks ago. So somehow I must have got unsubscribed or something. I don't know, because I've been subscribed. They're just, when I saw the live stream a week or two ago, I was like, oh, cool. Yeah, you got to catch everything when you can.
Yeah, they do. They unsubscribe people from from you, especially like small channels. Like if you subscribe to them and you don't like hit the bell or any of the notification stuff, like they'll unsubscribe you. I don't know why they do that, but they do that quite a bit actually. So it's frustrating being a new YouTuber and getting people unsubscribed by the platform themselves.
Yeah. So it was pretty cool earlier on the first live stream. You guys are talking about stacking nickels and dimes,
Yeah.
or nickels and pennies. And so so I got lots of friends that the last few years didn't have a problem originally just going to the bank and saying, "Hey, can I buy a box of nickels or a couple 4 boxes of pennies?"
Yeah.
Well, in the last 6 months, it's turned into, "Well, no, we got to order them," and then they'd have to wait a few days or a week, and then, "Well, we can't get you 2 boxes of nickels, we can get you one. And we can't get you 3 pennies," but and then now it's down to most of the guys are driving all over to different banks and they can't get any. It's like they won't order them for them or whatever. Just gotta throw that out there to people.
Well, it looked like you had quite a stack. You must have found some somewhere.
Well, I mean, it's like everything else. If you get some a little bit at a time when it's available, because normally, like around Halloween, is when I go hit the banks heavy, because you can tell them that you're handing it out to the kids, and funny enough, every time I tell them, it's cheaper to buy a $25 box of pennies and hand out by the handful than it is for a fucking bag of candy for kids. I mean, it's easy. They're like, "Oh yeah, you can have."
That's smooth, bro. That's good thinking, man. That 4D thinking we were talking about.
No, yeah,
That's
cool.
great.
So, you go through any of those, or are you just stacking them because they're obviously going to be much more valuable in the not so far distant future?
Yeah, so on the pennies, so I sort through them and grab out the pre-82s,
Nice.
and set those aside. But I'm not into really like looking for special coins or so that I just bag them all up and then separate them, and maybe they come in handy down the road.
Yeah.
But the nickels, nickels I just kind of sort out and just keep them by the count. Stack them up in jars and face value, and if they end up coming up down the road handy in 10 or 20 years for my kids, then good to
For
go.
sure. I bet. I mean, there's already stores that are like offering double the price on pennies, because I've heard that states have like laws where they have to do exact change or something weird. I don't know. This is just like kind of me seeing headlines and stuff, so I'm not an expert in that at all. But I think what I remember reading was like there was certain stores that were offering double the value of a penny, so 2 cents for every penny, just so that they would have pennies so that they could give out exact change to their customers because they're having trouble finding them. So, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, so some of the guys have been saying on Telegram, they post pictures, and on eBay, I think they were selling a roll, like a brand new 2025 mint roll, was going for over $100.
Whoa. Wow. I have not looked into it yet, but I hear the last run of pennies here is just getting crazy valuable. So, yeah. The last penny sold, I can't remember. I don't know what they said, but it was like an outrageous price for the very last stamped penny.
I question the value that's going to retain, though. Like,
right, I wouldn't buy into. I wouldn't spend a large sum. I mean, I'm sure it will retain
keep a couple
some value,
rolls
but
around.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a thought. Like, how long can you sell those before like the market's thinned?
And so nickel says nickel is 75% copper and the rest must be nickel. Well, like I was saying in the last stream too, that if anybody is interested in getting pure nickel, I have a connection that can get pure nickel, 3 nines, 5 plus pure. So that's like pure nickel at a great price. And I can also get 4 nines fine copper for a great price as well. Most places will sell a 1 ounce copper round for like $2-3, and I can get a 2 ounce piece of copper, 4 nines fine, for $1. So you basically flip that around. So that's nice.
Yeah, so unless you're ordering thousands of dollars of copper at a time, like it's going to be one of your most price accessible ways to stack copper.
Yep.
You know. So, well, man, now that we got you on the hook, you know, can I get a baseline of you and like ask you like the basics? Like, you know, what do you think? Gold, silver, platinum? You know, do you believe in paper trading or you know, stocks? And
What's your
ETF
forte? What's your favorite metal?
Yeah, what's going on? What's your financial wisdom declared?
Yeah, so I did try mining stocks several years ago. Didn't do too good with them, like most people, because didn't know what I was doing and bought a few. But but luckily I was able to cash out, and then the losses that I took, I wrote off all my taxes, and was able to go buy more physical. So I've been out of those, and you know, luckily enough, the tax man blessed me with the same amount that I lost back on a refund added to, so I was able to not. You know, it wasn't a loss. I mean, I came out ahead, obviously, because I go back into physical, then the prices have been up in the last 2 years. So another wise choice. Luckily.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, that's a place that I sure lack is knowledge in taxes and that angle, how to all the different write-offs, and boy, I suck at that. I need to tighten up, as they say, tighten up insurance.
Yeah. So here's I'll try to make it a short story, but I can go into details. There's only one way to fuck the IRS out of your money legally when people have money or when they have metals stored in an IRA, in a metals IRA, and then they know that if they, you know, they for instance, if they took a 401k, they transferred it into a metals IRA, and let's just say they're, I don't know, 50 years old, and then you decide, hey, you know what, I'm gonna yank it out, and you got to pay a 20% tax, you know, because it's basically like an early withdrawal on your 401k is basically the way the government. Well, so the only legal way to do it is, for example, I called Andy Scheckman and bought some metals from him, and I knew it was going to take me 4 or 5 months to finalize my plan, so I left it in the storage facility, and I don't remember the date, but back in October, maybe 22, 21, something like that, seems to ring a bell. Silver got slammed down to $18 for that day. So whenever that date was, I called him up on the phone. I said, yank it. And so I took a huge loss. I was able to write off more than half of my penalty to it. And then when my CPA filed the taxes to the IRS, they basically personally called her and said, look, we don't give a shit what his taxes look like. We don't care about any of the numbers, but we want that less than like a little bit more than a third, but they wanted that money from the early withdrawal. So if people that have their metals stacked in a facility and they think that, well, you know, I might need it in a few years or something happens, yeah, you can do it that way. If for some reason, because remember, it's the spot price, not the LCS's low ball, you know, but yeah, so if all of a sudden, like say in the next 6 months or a year, we get a major pullback, and just say that one day that silver gets slammed to $20 or $16, you know, and the markets are crashing, yeah, you better pick up your phone and get the metals out as soon as possible. And then they will flash whatever the spot price was that day. You can do the math, send it to your CPA, and then you won't have to pay almost 3/4 of the taxes that would due if you would have just done a regular withdrawal. But I've told that story a few times. Most people haven't heard that way.
Yeah, interesting. Go ahead.
Frisky, thanks for dropping by and hanging out with us, man. I appreciate your contributions to everything. You bring a lot to the conversation, so just make sure you keep dropping by. Thank you. And
Yeah,
he was wondering how much for the nickel, by the way.
So nickel stacking, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it was like $10 a pound or something like that. And again, it was 3 nines, 5 plus pure, so it's pure nickel. And they were coming in these little bar form. I believe it was like $10 a pound or something. Yeah, nickel says yeah. So 10, and I think it's gone up since then. But that was the price paid as of like 3 months ago, or 2-3 months ago, or something. So yeah, I don't think it's went up much. I know it's went up a little bit, but it's still a great deal. So if you're interested, just reach out and we'll get you hooked up.
So you dropped out of your minors and you said, I'm going tangible. Was this the first time you went tangible? Or have you kind of been like riding tangible for a while and decided to just fully vest in tangible? Like, where are you standing on that right now?
Yeah, so right now I'd probably say I'm about 95% physical metal.
Sweet.
Nice.
That's the way to
But
go.
still playing that 5% for what? Dividends or profit capturing?
Probably the 5% would be cash.
Oh,
Gotcha.
Yeah. The easiest way.
Yeah.
Because you still got to pay bills, and I still want to pick up stuff. I still want to go to the LCS, and still want to go on vacations and do stuff. So, you still got to have some cash on hand. And whenever the amount gets too big or unwanted, then you can just make a phone call or order online or go to your LCS and get rid of it.
No, yeah, that's right down that's the way I handle it as well. I still do have a little bit in I have some First Majestic for silver is a minor, and then I have the other half of what I have in there is in Peter Schiff's gold fund. So, but everything else I'm all physical as well, so
yeah. I'm into critical metals and First Majestic both. So,
and there are definitely better miners out there than First Majestic, like silver. Like Fortuna has been really good. There's been other good miners. I just went with a very safe bet, and I had money
First
online.
Majestic is a large project, bro. That's just in a lot of ways just firing up. Like these guys are in a lot of ways just kind of like getting their steam going. They've been working a long time to establish what they've had, and they've grown a really large company, and they're invested in a lot of futures and a lot of prior exploration. And so they've already done their homework. They've already established everything they need. They're in the prime of the go. This is where you see them start pulling that lead,
Yeah.
And I think they're in a really good spot, personally.
Yep.
Yeah. Hey, LLC. So also while we were there in New Orleans, you saw me hanging out with Jordan Roy Byrne. So maybe down the road, and get you in touch with him or something, and you can either get him on a live stream or do a interview. Because if you realize when we were there at the conference, he was the only guy that they had doing technical and charts, and so that says a lot when it comes to miners. And he's one of the top dogs in my opinion.
Cool. Yeah, for sure. I'd love to have him on. Yeah, Nickel says LLC is also invested in vinyl. Indeed. And I have some very special vinyl in this box right here. And I'm going to open that probably on another live stream tonight. But that is some probably my most exciting vinyl that I've ever had. So I'm excited about that as well. And vinyl is actually, if you get the right pieces, they can be quite valuable. So I wouldn't recommend it to other people. That's what, like, silver and gold is so evenly keeled across the entire world, liquid, that's something that you can easily, not give people investment advice on. We never do that here on the channel, but it's just a solid recommendation that I do that, I feel is not steering people wrong by any means. So,
I think I don't ever want to dismiss alternative investments, right?
yeah,
Like some of these more speculative or exotic investments. Like everything from Rolexes to art to like you're expressing with the vinyl. Me and you've talked about this before. These pillars of wealth. What are these things what makes something valuable? What do we as humanity do our best to sustain and preserve? And what is it? It's land, it's water, it's food, it's art, it's music, it's metal, you know, it's
yep,
technology. And these are your fundamental pillars of investment. Now, of course, you don't want to be eating ramen staring at a Mona Lisa. You know, it'd be nicer to be eating
depends on
steak.
how much of an art fan you are, I suppose.
Yeah,
But
no,
yeah, no,
you're
I know
right,
what you
Toby.
mean.
You're right.
No, yeah, no, I know what you're saying.
There's a lot of money to be made in a Mona Lisa, right?
Right.
But no, for real, like again, back to the just keeping it back into silver world, the difference between 90%, the guy doing the he loves the hand pours and the other guy loves just like straight bar, and
Yep.
so on and so forth. Like these all have different uses, different timings, different values, different characters that are purchasing or selling, different timings of the market. I mean, we can't be so we can't be so silly as to put everything in this one single line and say this is your fundamental investment strategy. No, it doesn't work like that. You're supposed to be able to respond to your environment, and I think we forget that too. Some of
Yeah.
these old timers, like I've had some discussions with some old timers, and they're just not getting it. They're not understanding, like, look, there's more people entering the market every year than there was in the market when they fired up.
Yeah.
You know, we're not. You can't just throw a Fibonacci on it and call it the end of the day.
Yeah.
There's market stimuli going on a larger scale than ever. There's more people involved than ever. It's not
And
just a couple guys on Wall Street anymore.
yeah, and to that point, a very important aspect to keep in mind is to know your investment, right? Like that's really quite key as well. Like vinyl, I would never tell people, oh, go invest in vinyl. Definitely not, especially if you don't know what you're doing. Like if you don't have a genre that you excel in, or that very well, this particular genre, you it will do you no good. You'll probably lose money.
Yeah, you
So
can't go out and buy any Rolex.
right,
you know,
right, exactly. And so
you'll
since
lose
I
your
don't
butt.
know, yeah, since I don't know Rolexes, I don't do Rolexes. But Space Miner knows watches pretty well, so it probably wouldn't be a bad place for him to
Yeah,
get.
and I don't do Rolexes either. So
Yeah, but knowing what you're investing in is very key for sure. Because
agreed.
otherwise, how do you know what's good, when to get in, when to get out, all that stuff is.
Well, and if you really I mean, there are times like where if you really want to sit down and play hardball, fine. Let's look at the charts. Let's look at the value. Let's look at the history of exchange, and let's see who's beating who in the value. These vinyls, some of these vinyls have gained extraordinary amounts, way more competitive than gold.
Yep.
You know, Way more. You could have made so much more money in vinyl than you ever could have in the gold market.
Right.
Ever. You could have.
Could have if you knew what you were doing. Yep.
Uh-huh. So I don't like when people just like so nonchalantly dismiss entire cultures of investment. Like investments in humanity, much less the values that we portray our efforts with, you know. Yeah. Sorry, I'm all getting all philosophical over here, but dang it.
No,
maybe I'm tired of it, you know.
Yeah, well, in the human aspect especially, like right now we're on the bottom rung, right? Like with AI taking off the way it is, it puts the human investment aspect of things at the bottom of the pile, and it's probably a good time to start investing in that type of thing, because you want to invest when it's least appreciated.
Yeah, nickel was mentioned right here. Most Rolexes over history have been good investments. Dude, they haven't just been good investments. They've been great investments. They've been more stable, more competitive than any precious metal on the market. Hands down. If you had bought Rolexes and knew which Rolex to get, yeah. Sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you over that.
No, that's right. That's right.
Jake, you got input, man? You've been quiet for a minute.
Yeah, so I do want to share a story, and so over the last few years, we've all heard of people say that there's only 0.5% of the U.S. population invested in precious metals, whatever.
Yep.
Anyway, so I'd like to push back on that, and I just kind of do it just generally, but I think it's got to be way more, because like even my dad has a friend who's a Korean War vet. He's like 91 years old, and he's got a 12 by 12 room with junk silver stacked in 10 pails, stacked to the wall, to the ceiling. And the weird part is he only has one daughter, and the house looks kind of average. He's an old farmer. He don't care about money. Wears overalls and a beat up Ford truck. He's probably got about $8 million worth of junk silver in his house. And then so the thing is that he only has one daughter, and she has no idea that one day when he passes away, that she's gonna walk in and go like, "Holy shit, what is this?" Well, so my stepdad Jim's afraid, because the last few years, as the price goes up, now he's going back in that room quite often to count it and try and get face. For years he just, I don't know, sucked it out of the system. But I mean, who knows? But basically, my dad's afraid one day, if one of those old pails falls or a whole wall, could be dead.
Yeah, wow.
I'm not lying.
No, I believe you.
No, yeah, no, that's
silver's
cool.
heavy, dude.
Yeah, and so if you think about it a little bit more, everywhere we turn to the LCSs, there's tons of people selling, whether it's inheritance coins. I don't know. I mean, like nobody really knows the percentages, but there's way more people selling their family silver or bars, or and so now all of a sudden, as the price goes up, more of these older bars, Matthew bars, and there's a lot of the old shit that's now starting to pop up where they haven't, they haven't been around for 20 years. So who's counting for those stackers, right? So it's like the percentage, in my opinion, has to be higher. I mean, there's like old dudes rolling in with gold. I mean, I got a ton of stories I could share that I've seen in person. A couple of years ago, I've told this one a few times, in Indianapolis, is where my cousins live. So I go up there and go hang out with them. And I always hit this old jewelry store, coin shop and jewelry store. And these two old farmer dudes come out laughing, wearing overalls because you got to get buzzed in. Anyway, and so the lady, I was like, wow, they must have got a good price, on something they bought. She goes, oh yeah, they come in every year. And she's saying that their granddad, well, shit, these dudes are in their 80s. And anyway, so she said they left them bags of gold double eagles. And so she said every year they come in, they sell one or two and go party and, whatever. But yeah, been doing it for years.
Wow. That's great.
Yeah. No, yeah, I agree. I think there's a lot of old timers that have just, they were around when silver was still money, right? And so, like, yeah, my grandfather is as well has some 90% that he's just held on to all this time. And so, yeah, I think as this price keeps climbing, that yeah, you'll see some of that come back online. Indeed.
Yeah, the story I tell of the Merc dimes, reaching that guy reaching in the bag of Merc dimes and just pulling up, that bank bag full of Mercs. Like, that's one of those old timer, cover all wearing, old truck driving,
Yeah.
stacked to the ceiling. But and guess what he's full of? Silver, gold, and art. That's what he picks. Silver, gold, and art.
And what a smart move, just holding on to that 90% for so long, because it really dropped down in price, so they're probably thinking, oh man, should I be holding? But now that they just held their nose and kept holding on to it, now they got to be starting to smile because the future looks bright.
Yeah. Go ahead,
after you, Jake. No, after you, sir.
Yeah, the last month when I was in Evansville, there's an old coin shop in downtown Evansville that I go to because it's one of the very few coin shops that will let you handpick your Mercury dimes, your Rosies, all your junk. They'll let you handpick it. Well, the first time when I went in there, it was the first time I'd ever seen it stacked. I mean, standing room only. Everybody's selling. The owner knows I come in once or twice a year. He knows I'm buying. He's like, thank God. But the funny thing was there was an old guy that had just sold, and so I didn't get to hear the face value, but he basically got $6,000, a little over $6,000 in cash, and he was just laughing the whole time. And the cool part was when he got done with the old sales lady, he gave her $300 as a tip. He goes, "There you go, sweetie. Have a nice day," and he just laughs and walks off. And I'm thinking, like, God damn.
It was his pocket change. His damn pocket change, man.
Yeah, the OG. I mean, he's like, so more than likely he got it all for free. Most of these guys, they've been stacking the dimes and the quarters. But the cool thing about that shop, and we can discuss it later, whatever, is how to do junk silver. Because I got opinions on junk silver and whether or not people like them to do it or don't. Yeah, so I'd sent LLC a few comments or something on his phone and pics and whatnot. And so what I figured out a couple years ago was most people just buy junk silver by 100 face bag or 50 or whatever they do online, or most shops won't let you hand pick it from what I tell and my friends. They just they throw it in a coin counter. You trust them, they give it to you, whatever, and that's the way it goes. So a couple years ago, I realized that half of my Mercuries were really worn and slick, and then a couple of the Eisenhower's dimes were bent or rusty or God knows whatever. Anyway, and so a couple years ago, I started going through the stack, and I got out all the nasty ones and traded them into gold, and then I made a profit because I remember buying it at like 17 face and selling it back at 21 or something. And then he kept me a deal on the gold. So, it didn't look like I was just ditching the shitty, the coins. And so I don't think he caught on to it then, but I had thought that down the road, if you don't handpick your junk, and you come to find out that, let's say, half or 3/4 of your Mercury dimes are all slick and worn, at some point, they're going to start wanting to go to weight. And of course, we've been on X several, a year or so with guys, Silver Degen, a bunch of them talking. And so we have heard of some of these shops around the United States that are now, and now they want to switch the game on us, where for the last, say, 50 years, they sold it to us by face value. Now they want to go back to weight because now that they really, right, because now we're making the cash. And then these guys are getting stuck with, and let's just say should be a 25-pound bag of silver in face value, but when they weigh it, it's 22 pounds. Right. But the fact, right. So you're starting to see more people talk about it, and so I'm on the fence, so I'm on the other side of the fence to where I clean all my junk silver when it comes in, and then I inspect it, make sure it looks nice. It is true junk silver and all that, meets the dates, all that, and so now that I only hand pick and I throw them in containers, and that way I know what I got. It's easy to count. And I don't have any slicked and worn ones because I remember as the price, not so I didn't start buying junk silver till it was like 17, 18 times face. But now that it was 37, I think I talked to LLC about a month ago, whatever, when I was up in Michigan. I was up in Traverse City with my buddy Coffee and Stocks, and the dude's like, yeah, 37. I said, cool. And I
Would
started
you hang
picking.
out with Coffee?
Yeah, dude. We were up there for a couple days.
Coffee.
Yeah.
That's
So we
cool.
hung out for a couple days.
Very cool.
So anyway, so the way I thought about it was that I was picky about the junk silver at 18 times face. Well, how picky do you think I was at 37 times face?
Yeah, right.
Right. Yeah. So it's funny how they may change it. I'm not saying that they will overnight, but I'm thinking now, in my opinion, now is your time to go through any of your junk. And if you got some slips or something, maybe you want to get into platinum or osmium or whatever, something you need cash, and if the LCS treats you right on the buyback and all that, you might want to get rid of that because my buddy Alan Greenspan, Alan Satoshi. So like once every few months we go up to downtown Centerville, Texas, and that's where my mom and dad's ranch is at. And so you can go to the farmers market and trade out junk silver for food and vegetables. And it's like a farmer's market who's got honey. And so anyway, so you can just go negotiate and swap out whatever. But we told him what's going on and what may be coming down the road. So I suggested him to buy a digital scale because everybody knows down the road at some point when one of you guys have to trade or sell your junk silver, you're probably going to get rid of all your slipped, old, worn beaters. And, everybody wants to get rid of their trash first. Well, if you were sold it at junk silver or at face value, and then all of a sudden you come to my taco stand and I tell you I want a troy ounce and I pull out a fucking digital scale, guess what? That 14 dimes of mercury here, they ain't going to cut it, dude. You're going to need 16. Well, if you do that every transaction, you're losing on the weight. So it's just a concept to think of. Yeah. If you haven't heard that before.
Yeah. No, that's good to raise that awareness to that because you're right.
Sure.
That's a lot of guys get around that. Like, I'm a little uncozy with how like Goldback says, it's 1/1000th of the ounce. It's easy enough math, but it kind of like starts hiding figures through creative wording, and so like you're right. If you're not if you're going by coin counting, you can get screwed, so it kind of like I guess it's one of those things like you just got to be clear on transaction. Hey, what's the deal here? Because are we going to go by the weight, sheer weight, or if you want a coin count, then I'm going to need a better value per coin,
Yeah. So funny enough, the first time I bought junk silver from this legit store in Austin, Texas, and so I really like him. A shop's called Chris's Coins in downtown Austin. He's a great guy. And so the first time I bought like a 100 face bag, and so I got it and I told him, I said, I'm gonna clean it. And he goes, don't waste your time. And so, well, anyway, when I got home, I drove, it's like a 4-hour drive from me one way. So I went there, grabbed a face, came home and I cleaned it with the jewelry cleaner, the cheap silver jewelry cleaner they sell at Hobby Lobby. Anyway, and so when I slung out all the dimes on a towel, a bunch of them came up rusty and they ended up being plaid coins. And so I was able to identify, $3 face out of a 100 face bag of plaid. And I was like, man, I got fucking ripped off. So I called him. He goes, oh yeah, it's part of the business. And he said, sometimes people slip it in, they buy them. So I called him up and I went back the next day and we swapped them But it's one of the reasons why I do clean my junk silver, because one, it's easier to handle, but two, it also helps identify plaid dimes and fake quarters and shit.
Wow, cool. That's good. Good that you got a good enough LCS that he was honorable and swapped it with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just, I mean, because there's a lot of people that I've known for years that just buy junk silver, and let's just say it's SD Bullion or with Andy or anybody, they just buy the bag, assume there's 100 face or 50 face or 500, whatever, and they just throw it in the safe and go, aha, cool. Yeah, well, they don't even know what they got. Did they get a bag of slicks? Is there fakes? I mean, nobody spends any time cleaning, organizing, sifting through. So it's just.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know some of those big dealers they go and invest in like a coin counter or a coin separator where you can drop in all your coins, and they supposedly will catch a lot of those non silver dimes and whatnot. So I don't know how
Right.
accurate they are, but
LLC, you and I, we haven't discussed specifically like cavitation and exposing clad and stuff, but like more to the point, like this is one of the reasons like we've leaned towards like the pure metals movement, that to really push for just a clean weights measurement, is what we're talking about. Clean weights, clean metals, clean measures, and
yep.
and that's like leaning on it as a security, not a preference so much as a security.
Security and an ease of use for the new little old lady that comes into the market, and gets confused on all this other stuff, and it's a way to just keep it pure and easy. So yeah.
Let me give you an example, right? Like the Eagles, right? Silver Eagles, right?
Yep.
Weigh over 1 ounce. Okay. Like physically weigh over an ounce,
Yep.
Same with your like Krugerrand, like your Rands,
Yep.
your weight over an ounce. Well, the little old lady who doesn't know how to spot a fraud, somebody comes over and they give her a coin, and so she thinks she's being smart. She weighs it, and it weighs 1 ounce, and she looks at it and it says 1 ounce silver,
1 ounce.
and she just got scammed with complete forgery, never able to catch it, because the simplicity of it is most people don't realize that in your bimetal coins, or mixed metal coins, that that there's denominations that are spoken of that aren't necessarily intuitive, and it can lead to some misinterpretation, some misinformation, and ultimately people suffering that shouldn't really have suffered.
Right.
Like, look, when the weak suffer, I take, when you consider yourself from a position, arguing from a position of strength, when the weak are suffering, that's my fault. That we didn't do a better job of educating, cleaning house, and so by us having these conversations, we are in essence cleaning house, and doing our duty. But this is why I tend to lean towards pure metals.
Yeah.
To kind of like lend security to anybody that may be listening, lend security to my friends, and
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big part of why I went pure metals, is just to eliminate that extra bit of confusion and when you allow for that, the different percent, because you've got sterling, and then there's one that's just over sterling. What is, like, it's called, is it Britannia? I can't remember what it is, but it's like,
oh
instead of
yeah,
92.5, it's like 94 or something, just a little bit more pure. But when you get all these different variants in there, and you got 80% Canadian, right? And it just allows for that deception, that little bit of deception to enter into people's minds, and that really opens the door to thievery, deception, corruption, especially of the little old lady or the newbie, the new person who doesn't understand all these ins and outs. And if you just go into purity, it really takes all of that other confusion off the board, and it allows your mind to focus in simply on, okay, spot price is X, my weight that I'm buying is Y, and calculate that, and it's as simple as can be there. And so for the new person entering in, which I think there's going to be a lot of new people entering in once we get through this $50 and start running, it's going to bring new people in, and they're not going to understand all these nuances of 90% and 80% and sterling silver, and so it will allow for them to just pure metals, takes all of that confusion and corruption out of the way, and there's no need for it in that, on this modern day and age. There's no need for it. And people will say, well, don't get pure gold because it will scratch and dent. And well, we have this new thing that we use called a capsule, and pretty much all of our gold nowadays comes in a capsule anyway. And even the 90%, they're like, oh, it's hardened and it won't scratch. Well, it's like you got that in a capsule anyway, so what does it matter? Just get your pure metal, and if you're worried about it scratching or scraping, put it in a 50-cent capsule and no worries. So yeah.
Hey, also I wanted to add in, because there's always lots of things going around. My buddy Point Shop Chris on YouTube, he's got a channel. A few months ago, they've had people that bring in generic buffaloes that say 3.9's fine, and some of them he said they didn't look right, and so he threw them on an XRF machine, and they came up 925 or 90%. So wow. People that are really big into buffaloes or generics only, you might be made aware of that, because there's like, I don't know how many there is, but just say there's maybe 30 or 40 different companies that are making generic buffaloes, and so is the purity, just because it's stamped doesn't mean it is. And so if people have an LCS with an XRF that, now might not be the time, super busy, but every once in a while that should take a few of those, and have them tested and stuff, because there's always lots of frauds that could be, and as the price rises, more fraud will appear.
Exactly, indeed, for sure. Yep, that's what a little magnetic coin slide like this will detect your 92.5 as opposed to your pure silver quite easily as well. So just getting yourself a little slide can do a lot.
Yeah.
So, or a coin pinger, people know, I'm sure a lot of people know about the coin pinger, but that's where you get your terminology of sound money from, right? Is you can take your coin, put it in your teeth, and give that baby a ping.
There we go.
It's not a very good pinger, but and they have apps for it, and it'll tell you right down to if it's a type 1 or a type 2 eagle. So coin pinger is actually a pretty good way to detect whether your coin is pure or not, or what purity it is. Sound money is, a lot of people think sound money is from the terminology of like, oh, that's a solid purchase, it's sound, no, sound money comes from how good does it sound? The old timers would drop their coins onto their table and know the sound that it would give off. And if you gave them something that wasn't pure, they'd know just by the sound of it, because you get so used to it. Now we have apps that are electronically way accurate. So but yeah, so once you get used to, like, that's why I have these 4 coins that I'm always, carrying around and getting used to, because once you get, used to the real metal, you can tell real silver from fake pretty, much easier than not understanding what the metal is, so.
Yeah, not only do I carry the silver, I always carry one with me to compare to a 90 or a 60%.
Yeah.
Just to distinguish a difference.
Yeah.
That way, if need be, you can demonstrate. But yeah, right here, like this guy, my 100 pesos. That'll ping for me. That'll make a nice high sound.
Cool.
And then I could ping my silver and get a nice low sound. So
awesome. Yeah, and like platinum has no magnetism whatsoever. So you put a platinum coin on here and it'll fall off. Just, there's no magnetism whatsoever. I guess you call silver, what do you call it? Bi-magnetic? There's a certain word for it. I can't think of what it is, but
paramagnetic.
Paramagnetic or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It also. Go ahead, Smith.
No, after you, sir.
No, so some other advice I offer to new stackers or fresh new people that are interested. If they go to an LCS and they're interested in buying some silver or a gold piece or whatever, to call them up ahead of time and make sure that they have a Sigma machine or an XRF, and make sure that you have everything tested before you leave. And that way there's no problem. Make sure that they teach you how to understand how the Sigma machine is set up and tested before it's tested, and it falls between the arrows and stuff. And that way you're confident when you leave that you bought legit stuff.
For sure.
Yeah, that's helpful. That's helpful for new people.
For sure. Yeah, I always tell people along those lines, buy from a very reputable dealer. Don't go to your local LCS unless they have, like Jake's saying, unless they have a tester on hand that they can show you and test it with. It's much more worth going through a reputable dealer and paying the extra few cents in premium than trying to, I'm going to save 5 cents here and get me, and end up with a fake piece of silver or gold or whatever. It's pay the
My
extra
grandpa used to say $5 a month will take you first class, or no, $10 a month to take first class. See what he used to say. But the point is spend a little bit more and get everything you wanted out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to
respond
real quick. One last thing I just want to say, look, as silver is going through the roof and will continue to do so, people are going to be getting more and more desperate by the day to scam you, to take advantage of this. It's worth their time. It's getting more and more worth their time every day. So we should be on the lookout and getting every piece of information we can from somebody about good ways to, like you mentioned, about cleaning your coins. Little things like that can save your butt.
Yep. And people that say don't clean your coins because you'll lose the value, with 90% that Jake's buying and selling and talking about, that's a great product to clean, because you're not losing any of your value on the 90% that's in those bags. They've been gone through 100 times to find the actual valuable coins. So cleaning your junk silver at this point from any dealer is perfectly fine, in my opinion.
Yeah. And so my opinion also, but but I've talked to guys the last couple of years, and if you notice, if you go buy a 100 face bag from SD Bullion, and then you look at it, it's nice. I mean, so funny enough, when you buy them online, you don't get that dirty shit that you go through when you have to go to a coin store or whatever. But when it's cleaned, it's also easier to present to your friends. Hey, look at this bag. Or now I happen to store my junk silver in 100 face bottles. And what I recommend to people that are new is if you go to the grocery store and they have Powerade, I prefer Powerade bottles over Gatorade because they're thicker. But you can put 100 face dimes or 100 face quarters. And then once you put the cap on it, if you're worried about it, you can put some super glue on it or whatever. And yeah, once you count it, slap them in there, then you can start stacking them in the safe. And if somebody wants to steal one, okay, yeah, good luck in stealing a one, but you're not going to steal all of them. I mean, yeah, you'd have to have a dolly, but yeah, and so that way it's also easier to count. When you have a large amount of face, you can just start counting bottles.
Counting bottles
at least,
instead. Yeah, no, that's good.
That's it.
No, I like that.
Yep.
Do you weigh each one or do you count each one?
Well, so I count mine in face value because I've already gone through and got rid of the slits. So if I show you a bottle of quarters that are already clean, you're gonna be like, holy shit, those are nice. Yeah, same thing as my dimes, same as the Mercury. So they all look nice and presentable because everybody knows when you start rolling through dirty money, your hands are so nasty. It's like, I think I could make a fortune if I could find some kind of soap cleaner that would clean the nastiness off those coins when you go through a bunch. You know what I'm talking about, that resin or what? It's just nasty. But also, but that smells and it's expensive and I mean, to each his own if everybody has a way to clean it. But it's just, to me, I just try to make everything simple and have it cleaned. And then that way, if somebody wants to look at something, I could show them some coins or if I dole it out and want to trade or, go do something, at least I'm going to present some nice looking coins to trade or, now on the weigh thing, me and Alan Greenspan did an experiment a couple months ago. We went together on a bag of $half, Franklin's only, and come to find out, and then I guess in a minute I could, I'll mute this and I'll go in my pictures, and I think I still have the picture of the older Franklins, even though they looked worn, the 49 through 58 ish in those dates. Those actually weighed more in silver than the newer 60, 61, the nicer looking ones.
Oh,
and
really?
So if you have a real good digital weight scale, and then, because at first we were thinking, like everybody, you grab the nicer ones. Oh, these coins look nice, but that was like a year ago, and we're wondering like, well, surely there's not that much off on the Franklin. Well, yeah. So if you go buy a bag or a large amount, you're like, hey, and so I told him, I said, hey, I said, so if we're going to split this, how are we going to split this? Because there's, not saying there were key dates, but there were nice dates in there. And so, yeah, so I took out, I don't know what it was, 6 or 9 pieces of paper, and I wrote, 12.0, 12.1 on, so up to 12.8. And as you start weighing them, you could just throw them in the square. And then when you get down to it, when you get done finished with it, you'll see that the majority of them were 12.5, but they were the majority of the older ones that kept the weight. And the ones that were 12.4, 12.3, and 12.2, and generally were the newer 60, 61, 63, but the heavier ones were like the 49s, the 50, and so it's like, holy shit, these coins look worn. Yeah, they looked worn, the 40s, but somehow they still weighed, more than the new 60s that look like they've never been. And so if you're stacking for weight and you're thinking like, so now when I go buy Franklin's, a few shops, I pull out my digital scale and they start laughing and I'm like, yeah, I got time. I got time because once you start picking a 12-6 or a 12-8 and you start nailing them one after the other, you're like, oh yeah, you're gaining, because remember you're paying the same price, and so if you're going to do it, you pick out the nicest one and or the heaviest one. So
right,
it is what it is.
You're paying the price right now because it's by coin, but like you say, when they switch over to weights, you'll definitely be up. So yeah, that's interesting.
Just a concept, just a thought, to share.
Yeah, cool.
No, you know what? I really like that you said that one part. Nah, I got time. Because, I think that's one of the big things, we tend to rush, and feel rushed and feel pushed and rushed and hurried. So like, come on. And it's like, whoa, hold on a second and take a little bit of extra time, go a little slower and get a little bit more out of this, literally and metaphorically,
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's we went to an LCS before I came on my trip, and there's a buddy of mine down in the Woodlands, and we were going through. So I take turns. Sometimes I feel like Mercury Dimes. Sometimes I feel like Rosie's. But anyway, so whatever it was last time, I decided to buy Rosie's. Well, so somebody dumped 55 and 57 BU dimes in that stash of old dirty. And I was like, I couldn't believe my eyes. I was like, tell me I'm not dreaming. And so I picked through every one of them. And then the funny thing is the guy in the Woodlands is the only guy I've ever met that buys and sells junk silver by weight. And so I give him a pass. If the world ever changes in 5 years or 10 or whatever, and they all want to go back to weight like the rest of the world, he's the only guy I'm gonna give a pass to, because he's the only guy that buys and sells by weight on the computer scale with this program, which I've never heard of before. But and it's funny enough, that's how he keeps his inventory. Okay, I thought it was weird, but yeah, if you need to, I can give you his phone number and you guys can call and get information. It's it was pretty weird because I didn't know that they had software programmed for weight of metals, right? Yeah. So by junk silver, he's got like a computer, he's got the spot. It's like it's all up to date, and he, so you get you really got to do your math prior to find out, because he's just selling it to you by weight, but either one of us has to do because most of us are just used to junk silver by face, what is it, 35, 33, we need to know that 350 a dime, okay, but yeah, when he does it by weight, it's like all fucked up. Takes a few minutes to be like, hey dude, how much is on this shit, how many dimes, and we got to, everybody's doing math, and it takes a few minutes just to walk in there and sling down some money, and it takes a few minutes just to figure out how much space we're buying, and so
yeah. Well, that count could go off really quick. Well, like you're talking, with a spread of like 0.3, that's a big spread. That means if you have 3 in a row, you've almost gained the weight of an entire extra count, like head count, So every 3 of them, you've gained 1 more in weight without affecting the actual count. So that 4th one is free, at that point.
Yeah, it's so it's a cool shop. We go down there, but majority of all the people are in there that are selling. And so we figured out now that he's so busy with people selling, whether it's gold jewelry or God knows whatever they're selling, it's easy for us just to make a standard appointment on Wednesday at, so me and him will go get lunch, and we'll set up a Wednesday at 1 o'clock every week. And we'll just go in there and just, rob the shop,
And future listeners, when you hear this, if you get an opportunity to hear this, make an appointment. If you have a large volume you're going to do business in, make an appointment with your shops. These guys, it doesn't do anybody any good for you to walk in and hammer them with a big load. You might offend them, you might upset them, you know, and a lot of these guys are ethically driven. So if you're going to move a lot of money, if you got a large load, if it's going to take a lot of time, try to do your local a favor and give them a heads up you're coming in, you know, let them know what's up, give them an opportunity to, you know, offer you better service too, you know. So just wanted to say that for my local guy. I'll say it for my local guy, speak for him in this case, you know. But
yeah. So also if there is new people in the chat or in the future they'll be watching this. Yesterday I was fortunate to have breakfast with Andy Sheckman and Tattoo from Miles Franklin here in Florida. So yeah, super cool dudes. I've known Andy a few years. Love him to death. It's a great company. And so people that aren't aware of some people online, it's like, you know, it's like I chat with occasionally James Anderson, you know, of ST Bullion and stuff. And so there are a few great companies out there that if you call them up and you order whatever you want to, you can verify 100% that when you order it from them, ST Bullion, JM Bullion, at Max, Andy at Miles Franklin, you know, there's probably a few other. Monument Metals has been a good one. The last 6 months, I got some great stories on them. Yeah, I got some really good deals. And yeah, so as long as you're matching up apples for apples on what you're buying, a 1 ounce gold eagle, a back date, whatever, as long as you're matching it up, you know, you can price it out between those shops and figure out shipping and whatever if you're trying to save. Because if you really look at it, there's a few companies that you can save, you know, a pretty good amount. And even though Andy doesn't release his prices to the public, if you call him up, talk to him, tell me, watch him on Liberty and Finance and watch him on these shows, and you can get, you know, somebody to, you know, might be able, maybe you can get a deal, not sure, but at least give him a chance. Because if you're making a decent purchase or something, you know, they can work your deal way better than, you know, like SD Bullion or some other one. You just click and, you know, whatever you're buying, and that's the price. And then, so just keep Andy and them open when you're interested in the mix of shops.
Yeah, no, and oh man, there's so much to say about premium. Firstly, I stand by my statement of, you know, don't try to save a few cents when you're brand new into metals. Go with someone reputable that you know you're getting real silver on. That's key. As you get further into it down the road, then you can start looking for your deals and how to save a little bit. But and another thing with Andy Sheckman, I've learned so much about the metals in general from Andy Sheckman that I should pay him a premium anyway for the amount of information that I've learned from him, you know? So yeah, there's lots to be said about premiums and buying and deals and
yeah. So funny enough, I know a lot of people, some like it, some don't, whatever. But the premiums, right? So just keep in mind that Andy and SD Bullion, these companies, these are multi-million-dollar companies, right? And so when people complain, well, spots this and the Eagles, yeah, well, so you have to like us ourselves. If we were to sell 5 Eagles, 5 silver Eagles, say 2025. And I got to sell them to Space Miner tonight. And I'm like, holy shit, I need to buy some more. Well, right. So tomorrow morning I wake up, there's a replacement cost for me to bring those Eagles back to my stack. And so I'm thinking like, oh my God, the price. Yeah. And so now to me, I'm a firm believer in sovereign coins. And so I only hold sovereign coins. I don't do generics. I don't do bars. I don't go out on a limb. And so if somebody said, what does your stack look like? Mine looks like Eagles and junk silver. And, you know, so I don't have Star Wars coins. I don't have pirate ships. I mean, you know, I know what all that stuff, but I keep mine nice and simple. And I got a few Britannias and, you know, the sovereign mints. Obviously I live in Texas. So liver tads and stuff. And I just deal with the sovereign mints, maples, and
Cool.
a little bit of everything, and that's the way that's my.
Right
Dude,
on.
I am a sucker for the liver tats. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, the liver tads get a lot of people, don't they?
They're gorgeous. They're gorgeous.
Yeah, well, a cool story. Last year, I went and scored a whole bunch of liver tads that were still in the original AppMex bag, and I got them for $30 from this it's a jewelry coin dealer ish, kind of sketchy, but I've known him for years, so it's good. But somebody came in and he lowballed them and bought them at $20 each, and they sat there for like a year or two, and nobody asked for them and whatever. And he goes, "Dude, I need to unload these." He goes, "How about 35?" And I was like, and this was like a few months ago when liver tads were going bananas, 55 plus and stuff. And I was like, "Dude, I'll give you 30 each." And there was like 15 of them. I was like, and he's like, "Yeah, dude, I need the money." I was like, "Cool." So it's just,
Awesome.
you can find some deals every once in a while.
Yeah. And then that's it. Once you have an established stack, then it's much funner and much easier to hunt around and to find those unique deals where you're not in a position where you have to buy them, and so you can find some of your pawn shops even, or stuff like that, where they might have some silver but they don't move a lot of it, and they might be wanting to move it, and yeah, just like you said, you can find an awesome deal like that sometimes. So
yeah.
I don't want. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, so I was going to tell them that the reason why I buy liver tads in the stack is because I got a Hispanic auto mechanic, a good friend of mine, and so he said once in a while he'll be willing to trade labor on the auto mechanics. Like we do oil changes and some of the basic stuff, and I can just give him liver tads to cover it, or a tip, or a Christmas gift, because he's not only is my buddy, but he's a damn good mechanic. And so if it's his birthday or whatever, you can just toss him a couple of liver tads, and he's super happy.
Next time, anytime you do something like that, if you can get it documented, I would love that, and I'll bring you up on my show, and we'll just take the little clip of you paying for some work by your mechanic. I want to do more of that, and I would like to bring more of that to light, and I would like more people to start doing that. I've been doing that. Like I get some what people would call grass-fed beef, no vaxes, right. Great beef, and I get it with gold or precious metals, and that's right. I would like to see that start happening more, where we get the community involved and we start showing that, look, goods and services are starting to be purchased with the metals, because that's starting to happen more and more, and we need it to happen more and more. And so I would love to start showing that off and pushing that more. And
so hopefully in a month or so we'll go back up to Centerville, and of course the guy Matt that runs it, anybody is welcome if you live in Texas. If you get, now obviously it's wintertime ish down in Texas, it's getting cold. I don't know how many more vegetables, how often, but in the spring and stuff, whatever, anybody is welcome to go to downtown Centerville and go to the town square on Saturday mornings, and you'll see other people out there selling stuff, but you'll find the only dude selling fruit stand and meat or canned goods and pies and whatever, and you can just roll in there with your junk silver, or if you want to throw down Eagles, if that's what whatever you got, you can work a deal with him, and he'll trade you out. But so one of these times, I don't know if there's any time this year, but if not, we can do a live stream or send you a video.
Awesome.
Hey, Jake, can I ask you, are you seeing any gold back motion down there? Like,
no.
And any guys interested in gold at all in the areas?
Gold,
or is
gold
everybody
Eagles
moving into silver?
Well, I mean, some of the people that I know were buying gold because silver's still affordable, right? So there's a concept of, people would say, well, I mean, it's like by the time we got in, like I've only been in it for a few years, so like I was paying 22, 21 and 22, something like that, premium, whatever. And so if we were buying it then or buying gold at 17 or 1800, and then all of a sudden gold's at 2000, 2400, and you're still buying, or 28, 3, 4, right? And so, to me, my opinion, which isn't popular, but gold is
I
harder
know
to
what it
find.
is.
Yeah, and so gold is harder to find at all the LCSs that I go and I travel. And it used to be let's say at least a year ago, several shops I could walk into, and if I woke up one day and wanted to buy a $5 lib pre-33, I'd call them up and go, "Hey, dude, you got some $5 libs?" "Oh yeah, dude, I got plenty." "Okay." Or I want to buy a 250 or a $10, whatever you wanted, right? But it used to be back in the day, you could just walk in there and shop, buy whatever the hell you wanted. I want to buy a bar. I want to buy, and
Yeah.
nice, But nowadays, the gold is just getting harder to find, And so, to me and other people, it's just if you can still squeeze in some gold every once in a while, you have to translate that payment of, well, if you were buying it at 1700 or 1800 and you're buying it at 35 and 4000, then what's the difference of $25 silver to $50 silver, right? Because there's still
Right.
plenty of silver. There's plenty of silver around, and so, it seems like the last year, all we hear is the majority. If 10 people are standing in line at your coin shop, more likely 8 or 9 of them are selling, and maybe one's buying. So if people are still selling, we can get into that more. But it's just, yeah. I mean, there's plenty of eagles, and I can go places and pick up whatever. But I don't want to get priced out of gold before it takes off. At some point, I will. I just don't know how. But we'll have to play that by ear.
Do you think the price of gold is deculturing the gold itself? Like, meaning like we are losing a culture of gold possibly just by being priced out simply? Do you think your experience might
Well,
lend to something like that, or how would you respond?
yeah. Well, I mean, so it only took less than 100 years to wash it out of our families, our heritage, and what our great, because if my great grandpa was standing here, he'd be happy as hell that I was, had some pre-33 gold, and so he knew all about it. My grandpa never told me about it. My dad never did. So I'm pretty much like considered a first gen stacker, and I'm gonna do the best I can to give my kids a leg up. But but the way they're going to take it from you, when people think of confiscation, it's not going to be the confiscation you think of. If they start raising the gold price, we all hear all the crazy numbers: 5,000, 6, 10, Jim Rickers, 20,000. Okay, so if you start jacking these prices up to incredible amounts, super high, yeah, so they're gonna make people sell your stack, because people like us can sit back and go, well, let's see, I bought a couple of these, half ounce $10 for $1,000 a piece 3 years ago, and now it's worth 10 grand. Well, holy shit, and, yeah. So what they'll do is they'll buy it from you, and then to an extent they'll raise the price up so high that normal people would be like, well, holy shit, I could sell 2 or 3 coins and have a brand new truck paid off, and my old truck keeps breaking down. You know what I'm saying? So, as they raise the
Right.
price
It's
up,
consumer
more
driven,
people.
right? So are we the actually so in a lot of ways it's simply our own greed dissolving our ability to capture, because we've spent the money, we got it,
Right.
we made the sell, we enjoyed the luxuries of the sell, and now because our sell drove the price even higher, because it's moving, gold's moving, right? We sold it
Right.
off, we made our cash, we spent all the cash, and now we can never recover the gold, and we're locked out, right?
Right. Yeah.
It's all
So
great.
So Andy's mentioned a few times on channels, and I got to hear about it yesterday. Was that when Jim Rickards said that the two resets. Well, so basically, I think the way I understood it was that, just say for example, easy math, if we wake up tomorrow morning and they raise the price of gold to $10,000 an ounce. Well, I'm gonna have to sit back for a minute and have a cigarette and have a laugh and go like, holy shit. Let's see. Yeah, maybe I do need to cut a coin loose. Maybe I could buy or do, okay, you got to think about it for a few minutes, right? Well, so right now we don't have inflation. Well, I mean, we got inflation, but it's not. So eventually, once they raise gold, for example, let's say the 10,000, and then the next couple of years, if you've sold, that's when the heavy inflation is going to start piling in. If you didn't hold on to it the first go around, right? Because remember, if they revalue gold at 10, you should say 5, 10, 20 years later, China does somebody, example, it doesn't raise the price even higher. Well, if you've already cut loose of your gold or your platinum or your silver because you got greedy and thought, oh my God, 10 grand, I'm rich. Yeah, well, here comes the inflation on the back end. And, there's a chance that I could see that happen.
Yeah, I mean that's really the key, is whether people are going to wake up to the debasement or to the devaluation of the currency. And just because gold jumps to 10,000, if gold jumps to 10,000 and our inflation doesn't move, well, now I can see you profiting quite a bit off of your gold there. However, if this remains a steady increase as it has so far, along with the inflation, then when you get up into the $10,000-$20,000 gold, you're not going to want, if you have a brain, a head on your shoulders, you're not going to want to sell back into that fiat unless you're, like you're saying, buying a new pickup or something that is a good value trade for you. There's no reason to get back into the fiat. You're going to be loving your gold because you're watching it increase in value continually while you watch your fiat decrease. So it's there'll be a lot of trickery going on there, but that's why it's so important to have an understanding of what inflation is and what the ratios are of inflation versus price increase on the metals.
I don't think anybody should interpret anything we're saying right now like to shame them for selling. Like, listen, like, it's not a profit unless you sell. It's also not a loss unless you sell. But the point is part of money is that it's got to be in motion. It's got to be being used to be money. Because if it's not in motion, it's just a security. You see, is what I'm arguing. Nobody should be ashamed of if you got enough to get you that new truck that you need. I get it. Like, your truck's an old beat up truck and you finally got the big win. And now you can buy that new truck that's going to last you the next 20 years. Okay, you won. This is what it's there for, to take care of us in our time of need. And so when it provides for you in a long lasting, sustainable way, that's nothing to be ashamed of to sell out in that kind of a moment. But I would caution you to not dissolve your entire security with that. You don't want to blow the whole hoard on a new truck and then be stuck with the cost of bread, having to sell your truck for the cost of bread. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
there's an important security to be leveraged in this. You need something to retain value so that when the value increases, you're part of it still.
Yeah, and that's why it's key to keep your eye on the dollar. And it's actually not, again, unless your fiat doesn't drop in value and everything else, because it's really not gold going up, it's your fiat dropping in value. So that's the main thing to understand and keep your eye on, is because, like I was just saying in our first stream, silver, I think right now is a good investment, even if the fiat dollar wasn't devaluing. I still have a good reason to invest in silver because of the supply demand problem. But you know, watching the devaluation of the dollar is really where it's at. That's why you're getting. That's why I got into the metals in the first place. Is because we're going through a devaluation or a currency reset, and so
Right. But
that
it's not happening overnight. So we shouldn't respond to it as if it's happening overnight.
right
You know,
until that big revaluation does happen, which could happen, which they're talking about doing an overnight revaluation. But so far it's been a sneaky incline. However, I've been telling people too, like, they have
save
been
your leverage.
manipulating the price for quite a while, and they've manipulated it, holding it down, and keeping people out of it because, it's not going anywhere. And now suddenly, boom, $50. And now people are like, well, it's too expensive for me to get in now. I'll wait for it to drop. Well, that's the whole thing. It's not going to drop. This is a game to keep you out of the value.
It's not recovering like it used to. It's recovering much quicker. It's recovering in days, not weeks, not months, not years, days.
Yeah. Hey, Spice Fire.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
sir.
So back to your comment you made a few minutes ago about not being ashamed to sell. Yeah, actually, about a month ago, I had to sell a 1 ounce gold coin. I was in the middle of purchasing a used car, and I wasn't quite sure how the taxes or the fees, and I had some cash, but I didn't want to blow through it all. And then I always carry a coin on me, and and I thought to myself, am I emotionally attached to my stack? Because I've never sold a gold coin. I was thinking, like, you know what? Right now, I need this car, and I need to have a good car, and I need to have some future repairs. And then so at first I called my buddy up and said, hey, dude, I need to sell a coin, and I got $4,100 for it, but only paid $3,000 for it. And so I was thinking, like, man, right off the bat, I made $1,000, but I got the cash, had to pay some on it, and then come to find out I did need a repair, and then went back a week or two later and bought back. Now obviously I couldn't buy back the same ounce that I sold, but yeah, and so you buy when you can, and if something pops up, I don't have time to drive half an hour back to the house and try to scramble this, and what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it didn't bother me. And then, like I said, I'm still buying and picking up stuff when I can, but it's just, you can only get cash so fast. And of course, the deal I made on the car was cash. And that's a funny story within itself. But yeah, I mean, those dudes at the dealership, they were like, what do you mean cash? Yeah, dude, not a debit card, not a check. Yeah, and this fool, I mean, it's a big dealership, dude. And they didn't even have a money counter. They didn't have a cash machine. Like, we're counting this shit out like my dad's allowance money to me. Jingle one. And funny enough, I got pictures. I can send them. I can send them to LLC. Not during the live streams. I think I'd probably cut myself off. But yeah, it's just but there are deals for cash. And so and now I did hear Coin Shop Chris in Florida, and I think it's around the area that he's at. Is that now there are people trying to wheel and deal at a dealership for gold, but they have to go with the person. Somebody from the dealership has to go take it and get it verified. And if the dealership is willing to, trade out, which obviously means that the owner or the boss is, trading it out with cash out of his pocket and, something like that. But yeah, I mean, but there are people that are trading, and I do hear people that barter and, and do stuff. And, so it's just who you talk to, who you know, and, what you got.
Yep, I think more and more of that's going to start coming to light, and that's good. We need it. So, and that's it. I mean, my channel is mostly about, I just want more people in it. I want people to wake up to the fraud that is taking place. You got the little old lady who just does everything she can to save a few pennies and keep some dollars, and doesn't realize how quickly those are being devalued. And so, I want the awareness to come, and why are people starting to do more business in gold and silver? I thought that was way old school. Why would that be coming back into play? Well, look into it and you'll quickly figure it out, so.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm coming at this from a perspective that, in my personal perspective, is I'm just trying to generate a sustainable life, like a solid, sustainable, uninterrupted life, right? Because if I have a stable life and if my life is entirely paid for already, then any dollar that I draw in is in profit. It's a profitable dollar. It's a usable dollar. Every dollar that I bring in. But I can only do that if I dropped the gold ounce to pay for that car and its repairs. You see, to have a stable car. Once you have a stable car, you're not dropping silver. You're not going down to the store to drop your silver for more parts. You already have a stable vehicle now. You know, this sustainability of life is the real key here, to not be forced into having all these additional costs constantly leeching on you, you know? And so if we can generate a stable life at this moment, then that means I'm not selling off my gold and silver now. I get to sell it off later when I'm ready. And that's the hope. And so when these situations do, you quickly dispense, you get them out of the way so that you can get back onto generating more into your stack. Because this is the real advantage, is in the stack, not in the USD. USD needs to be used like now.
Right.
Like either go buy the fucking truck or go buy the fucking silver, excuse my language, but go buy something with that cash, because that cash is losing value now.
Yeah.
And it's not worth what it's going to be worth tomorrow.
Right.
And quite literally most days.
Yep.
Nowadays. So,
well, I'm guessing that Nickel hit it on the head here. I bet if we were down in Texas, close to Jake, that he would take some silver for a pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you had anybody buy any from you with silver?
No, but I have been saying for years for everybody to stack pizzas. So when I travel around, I can pay you. I'll pay you in junk silver or silver for your pizza.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's awesome.
So another story I can share. A few weeks ago, it's getting harder to get large amounts of cash out of the bank. And so when you're trying to get a couple grand here, 500 or whatever the amounts are. And so in my town, we have 3 banks of the same title and same company, 3 different branches, small, medium, and large. And so I went to the large right off the bat. Oh, Jake, we can't do that. We'll have to call. And I actually had to leave that. I mean, it's like they couldn't even do it. And I started laughing. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I had to go drive downtown to what I thought was the medium branch. They're like, oh, yeah, we can take care of it. I said, well, no wonder why nobody robs banks anymore. But y'all ain't got no cash. And it's like, so in order to get precious metals, or what I try to do is pull out as much cash as possible to leave the littlest amount in there. Like most of the time, we might have like 400, $400 or $500 in the account. And if I need to, I can always go add some more in there. But if the banks fail or something happens or a 3-day weekend, it's
Yep. No, I agree.
I'm just gonna be laughing.
All right, we got Ground Pounder joining in. Hey, Ground Pounder, welcome in. Good to see you. You're like muted or something there.
Yeah, what up, GP Burger Crew, bro?
Cool, guys. I'm gonna have to wrap this one up so I can come back and do another unboxing of my precious here. So,
are you following direct, or are you going like tomorrow or something, or are you just gonna kind of cap and run?
I'll probably take a little half-hour break or something, get a bite to eat, and then come back on or something. I don't know if I can wait overnight on this thing. I'll have to think about it, but I'm kind of excited to get into it. So yeah, hopefully tonight here, Nickel. I'm probably gonna just go grab a bite to eat, and then I'll come back and we'll get into this baby. This is there's some very, very high valued items in there. Pretty excited about. So
Yeah, it's still early, isn't it?
8:00, 8:15. Well, Jake, I greatly appreciate you jumping on and letting us
No problem.
hear a little bit from you. That was fun. So
I
hopefully
agree.
I can get you back on here sometime. And if you come across any barter, get it on camera, and we'll put it out here to the community. And I'd like to see that stuff. So, and then whenever you're on with all these, you get to hang out with all the celebs, man. You're like,
I know.
you hit them all, man. That's impressive. So
Name should be Jake High Roller.
exactly.
Yeah. So when I was down here, I got to have lunch with Chris Marcus twice, and he's another great guy. And Arcadia Economics, if you don't follow them, I'm a mod on their channel. And so all these guys I've met are super nice people. And so they just want to help people, and they all have their own expertise, and you can chat with them, and you get to be friends with them and hang out, and it's just a great group of people to be in.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, that was great getting to have lunch with you guys in New Orleans. So it was a highlight for me. So I'll have to be excited to get you back on down the road, hopefully. And Space Miner, as always, it's good having you. Thanks for keeping me company here.
Thanks for having me.
Good
and it was
info.
nice talking with you, Jake. Man, that's cool.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you for your contribution, man. That was a lot to it, and really brought some insight into that. Kind of a lot what we're seeing right now. So, thank you.
I appreciate it.
And everybody out in chat and all the different links we had up, greatly appreciate you jumping on and hanging out with us and throwing your insight into the chat. Always
Nickel.
good to chat with everybody and talk with everybody. I'll hopefully be back tonight, if not, for sure tomorrow. And then I'll be back this Wednesday evening with Ian of Arc Silver Gold Osmium. And probably getting Aaron Burke on here shortly with down from Chicago and Ancient Coins. So bunch of good content coming up on the way. So thanks everybody for being here, and we will catch you all on the next one. Thanks all.